Today on Jacksonville Inside and Out, we're here with Chad Hendricks. Today we're here with Chad Hendricks.
What up?
He is the main person responsible for Two Crackers and a Lamp Productions.
What? Two crackers and a lamp? What is that?
That would be your production company. Flying Pygmy would be mine.
True.
But Two Crackers and a Lamp. You're also a bigwig at Mimi TV, the station you guys are watching now. And not only that, you're one of the executive producers. You're one of the producers responsible for this show. So it's his fault you're watching this right now.
Yeah, that's a good thing, right?
It should be. I hope so. Otherwise, people are just watching this just to hate on me. As long as they're watching, I don't really care. So, but you have before we get into your new movie. You and Mrs. Jones, or is it me and Mrs. Jones?
Just me and Mrs. Jones.
But you and Mrs. Jones, or me and Mrs. Jones?
Me and Mrs. Jones.
All right.
Me.
So how did you get here in Jacksonville? Were you born here? Did you get dragged here as a child? Did the military drop you off here? And
no, the cool thing is Pop's got a better paying job in '85. Right before my 10th grade year, and so we moved here, and me and my sister went to Forest High back when it was still called Forest High, and set up shop, and been here on and off the last 30 years. So Duval County is home. So
okay, so I've been here a while. '85, I was in New York City, so that had to be a different. So where'd you come from to Jacksonville, and what was it like adjusting?
It was pretty big. I mean, Jacksonville, everyone thinks is a small town, and yet when you're born and raised in a town like Live Oak, Florida, which is the Wendy's, Mickey D halfway mark between here and Tallahassee, then I think my pop said maybe 8,000 plus on the census and everything. So born and raised over there. I'm old enough where the hospital I was born in has been torn down, so that gives you a heads up. So but our claim to fame is where Live Oak is in Suwannee County, which is called that because it's smack dab in the middle of the Suwannee River, way down upon the Suwannee River, far, far away. So grew up going to the springs and the Suwannee River, and had an idyllic, pretty perfect life as a child, growing up in the 70s and 80s, and from everything from trailer park on down the line, and all it meant was all these kids of different ages got to hang out and grow up together. So it was a blast.
Okay, and then coming to Jacksonville, this is a bigger city than what you were used to.
Right.
A city they always say that Jacksonville has tons of potential, but never seems to actually get over that hump.
Yeah, it's a hodgepodge. You have a lot of people in the city who are trying to do things and are just really just doing things. And so it just depends. Do you want to always be playing the Jan Brady card and always running around going Marsha, 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 just because there's another city or two that happen to be doing bigger things than us? So what? If you keep looking straight ahead instead of looking out the window in the rear view at LA or New York, then just, if you ain't happy where you at, then go where you'll be happy.
Well, from my perspective, there are a lot of people who really love this town, and they feel like there are two groups of people in this town. There are the people who are trying to forge ahead and bring the city forward, and there are people who just want to hold it back at the same time. So, you're obviously one of those people who's forging ahead and trying to make this city a better place.
Well, the funny thing is it's a better place depending on where you came from, So it's a beautiful space, man. I mean, to forge ahead must mean that it just depends on what are you really seeing the city as. I mean, the city isn't jumping out claiming to be a music industry city. It's not yelling out that we've got next on Hollywood. There just happens to be a lot of creative people that are doing movies and music here, and so we all act like this city's supposed to look at us when we do that.
Well, Jacksonville used to be Hollywood.
Yeah, but who wants to live in the past? That was 100 years ago. That's when there were silent films. I mean, so we always love to go, hey man, we used to be the original Hollywood. So what? I used to date this chick, but I don't date her anymore. You know, keep it moving, progress. If we're going backwards, then hell, why don't we call this place Cowford, Florida? Or hey, you ever been over to Arlington? Yeah, Arlington, Florida. That's pretty cool, man. If we had a bridge, we could get downtown in Arlington, Florida together. It's so silly that the minute people start doing something in this city, all of a sudden we're ready for the big stage. Just be on the stage you're already at, man. If no one knows you in your own city, how are you going to be known anywhere else? You want to go to the back of the bus in LA or New York?
Well, to be ironic, or the irony is, Hollywood isn't Hollywood anymore. Vancouver is where all those films are shot now.
And Toronto, and so New Orleans, or Wilmington, North Carolina. Right. So
depending on what look they're going for.
Yeah, it's just silly. I mean, this city, sometimes people want a pat on the back and all because they got off their butt and went and did a movie, or they made an album or a mixtape. It's like, I don't get the insecurity. I mean, I'm not running around doing a cartwheel with a t-shirt saying, I've made 8 movies in Duval County. So what? You know, it's...
Right. Well, we'll be back with more Jacksonville Inside and Out with Chad Hendricks.
So what?
Welcome back to Jacksonville Inside and Out. We're here with Chad Hendricks.
Yeah.
The man behind Two Crackers and a Lamp Productions. And his newest film in the works.
In the works.
In the works is Me and Mrs. Jones.
It's coming.
You're still looking for people to send you some money on that, huh?
Still looking, always am so appreciative of anybody, sending even just a good luck or chase your dream or attaboy. There's been a lot of strangers who are now friends, right? With the GoFundMe.com/Me and Mrs. Jones, it's been pretty impressive. We've raised almost $2,000 for the movie, and you would think it would be best friends, and it would be people who've been in the 8 movies I've made and stuff that have donated $1 or sent an email of good luck and all. But it has literally been people from my past when I was a kid, and it's been random people that I've never met that have just been so sweet and so supportive. And all it does is inspire to get this bad boy in the can. So
what is the movie about?
Well, Me and Mrs. Jones is the old Billy Paul song where, he's having an affair with a married woman. And that was one of the most guiltiest relationships I've ever been a part of. And I was in the middle of a depression, which was my 30s. And sprinkle in some father issues, some surprises. And I was the skeleton of the family. And I took all of that depression and sadness over an ex-girlfriend, and I threw it in a blender, and I took that and wrote this script, which became therapy. So I couldn't afford, I was unemployed and moved back in with my parents. And so this 130-page craziness and all of this nugget of life came spilling out of me with poetry and old emails, and it just it's a hodgepodge of the truth and fictionalized just enough to make it a little more interesting.
Okay, and what is it that what's going to draw the audience to this? What kind of is this going to be the kind of film that you take your girlfriend to? Is this the kind of film that, or is it just one of those films that are going to make you think, make you cry?
You're hitting it on the head. Yeah, it's a coming of age for a 40-something, and the 30s, the 30-somethings will get it too. The whole idea is just to let people know that it's okay that you don't have it together yet. You know, you can be 40 or 50 or 30 and still be trying to find yourself and figure out what does it all mean. And it's a love story. There's a love story there's closure in there somewhere where it's a little ditty about Jack and Diane, and Jack's got to go see Di and see if it was really as great as he remembered it, and if she still cares. And in there, him and his ego get into it, and his ego, as you might know, is only the past and the future. And if you live in the present, it is a gift. Haha, right? So if you live in the present, then ego cease to exist because you are living in this moment. Right now you are listening to me and I'm engaging with you, and we're not worried about where we're going in a half an hour. And when we stay in this little bit of a moment and all every day, then ego cease to exist. And so ego is actually a puppet in the movie. So he's always in the rear view since he's the past. So I try to be heavy and light and all in the same breath. So it's a hodgepodge of someone figuring out what it all means. And it's a fly on the wall too for women. If women who think that when y'all aren't around, all we do is play a video game with our boys and badmouth ladies, that's not true. That's just partly true. So the real truth is we cry, we have feelings, and we go deep, and sometimes we just don't want to let you into that part of our soul and all unless we know you're not going to leave. So it's a fly on the wall for women who might want to know what we talk about when they're not around. So
all right. And really just kind of going back through old relationships, not like High Fidelity though, right?
It's like High Fidelity. I mean, in a perfect world, John Cusack would be the lead and I wouldn't, you know? Yeah, almost the same type of beast. There's a lot of music references in there, just like High Fidelity, which is a really good movie. And so, yeah, you hit it spot on.
So if somebody out there donates like $10 million, you could actually get the music to go along with it.
Right, and John Cusack, and yeah, you know, maybe Nora Jones would be my girlfriend in the movie.
There you go, yeah.
Just make out with her and use her music and have some Nora babies. So it's a passion project that I've been sitting on for a while, and I've stopped and started a few times, and we have a really great director, first feature for her, Tammy Lee, and our cinematographer, Sozo Jackson. I mean, his rep in town is already top notch with Zocode Films. So it looks pretty. They're making me look great in it. I've lost about 15 pounds for the movie, so the camera will put 10 back on. So
that's nice.
Yeah, so it's coming along nice.
Well, how'd you come to choose Tamika for the director role?
She, other than seeing her senior project, the Rose Order that she did at the Art Institute, which looks like it's coming along real nice. I saw her work on Fashion Gone Local and all, which is a TV show on Mimi TV. And I love her work already, for one. And I thought, man, you know, I'd love to have a woman's opinion, a woman's touch. There's a lot of heavy stuff in there where I have to be tender and peel the onion and be wide open. And I just thought, man, Tamika's such a great person, and we've had some heavy conversations at work and stuff. And I just thought, man, if a woman couldn't get it out of you, you know, who could? To have another dude on the set directing, right, he might be like, let's move on. Yeah, great take. Moving on to the next one. But she's been really, she's been tough when she's had to be, and she's been really soft in other places. And I used to think as a director, why do people always need to feel safe? I always thought that was the corniest thing. An actor needs to feel safe when they're making a movie. Nobody's going to pull a shank on them or shoot anybody on a set.
You say that, but back in the old Hollywood days, one of the child actors needed to cry for a scene, so the director took him aside and told him his dog died, and then filmed the kid crying. And then after the scene, he's like, "Yeah, your dog's alive."
Yeah,
no, true story.
that's wrong.
All right, we'll be back with more Jacksonville Inside Now in just a few minutes.
Your dog died.
Welcome back to Jacksonville Inside Now. I am here with Chad Hendricks
What up?
of Two Crackers and a Lamp fame. So you've done 8 movies. Tell me something about some of these other projects you've done.
Wow. My cousin and I, thus Two Crackers and a Lamp Productions. Since I was a big Spike Lee fan in the 90s with 40 Acres and a Mule Productions.
Right.
So I thought, man, me and my cousin are making this urban film, all black cast, first time ever trying to make anything. And I said, man, in LA when I was an extra, it was like 40, 50 people on a set to make a movie. I'm like, it's just you and I and this halogen. It's like 2 honkies in a halogen, you know? And he's laughing. And I don't know if it was because he was high, but I said, it's just 2 crackers and a lamp, you know? And he laughed, and I said, well, damn. So I asked my cast if they liked it, and they said, that's perfect. So, and then came, you know, from the first movie came Cracker Jacked, which went nationwide, straight to video, and that began the addiction. And then came Insane in the Brain, and Everything Means Nothing, and Neck of the Woods, and then came Block Burner and Trap Life and Grind to Shine. So it's been a wild ride. 8 features in 15 years. So.
Yeah. So that was a horror movie, Cracker
Jacked was like a Friday meets Friday the 13th. And then I followed it up
comedy
with
horror.
Yeah, the DJ gets killed with a record to his throat, you know, those kind of over-the-top things. So
Gotcha.
digging Ice Cube and then trying to find a little bit of horror flick in there. So
Gotcha.
which was funny because a lot of people thought it was racist against black people. Then it was racist
Really?
against white people. I'm like,
So basically, you have managed to offend every group simultaneously.
it was a beautiful thing. I mean, it was 2002 in Jacksonville, and we did the premiere at the San Marco Theater on Halloween night of '02, and it was a blast. We packed the thing out and then found a distributor, and they released it in '03, and the addiction started from there. So
Nice. So where do you see yourself going in the future? Where after your newest movie,
Mrs. Jones?
You and Mrs. Jones, or Me and Mrs. Jones, or Me and You and Mrs. Jones?
Yeah, that's dirty. Very dirty.
Let's go in the wrong direction. But where are you going after that? What's next on your hit list?
Whew. Well, Mrs. Jones is my first time ever acting, and so
That's not true.
well in a feature.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've done some short work. I'm really hoping that the adrenaline from doing Mrs. Jones and getting it across the finish line will end up making me want to go back to directing, and I have another 4 or 5 scripts that have been sitting on ice forever. So
Talking about features or
features, and I just think I enjoy it, man. I try to have, the weirdest thing is when I was younger, I had all these expectations, and here I was making movies out of pocket. I mean, I've made a movie with friends for $100. I've made feature. And I've made movies for a few thousand out of pocket. But you get to that point where you have to let the expectations ease up, because then if you're always expecting, if you get to that point where you're like, I'm not gonna make another movie until I get money, and then it never happens, you know. Then you forget, by the time you get the money, you forgot how to actually make a movie, or you've lost the rhythm of being good.
You really have to just keep plugging and keep practicing and keep going.
Yeah, for me.
Yeah, but I think that's for anybody. I think nobody can just like stop and say I'm not doing anything until somebody's willing to pay me for it. I wouldn't work at all if that were the case at this point. Nobody's willing to pay me for anything.
Right. It's the cart before the horse in a lot of ways, but that's only LA and New York where someone's like, oh yeah, we have a producer and here's your budget and who are the names you'd love in the movie. Well, yeah, but you know, what's your other option? Well, I mean, I can either wait around, you know, or go chase that for years. I can spend 3, 4, 5.
You know, this business, you have to be a shark, and if sharks stop swimming, they drown.
Well, I'm screwed if you have to be a shark. I'm more of a dolphin, man. I'm just gonna, you know, keep it moving and try to be glass half full and see what happens.
Not all sharks are great whites.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm doing it right or wrong. I'm just doing it, and that's the hope. I mean, I can sit here and do the old Tupac line of I might not change the world, but I might spark the mind that does, and hope that me doing something I'm passionate about or that I love to do might spark the next person who goes off to Hollywood and makes it big. Now, does that benefit me in any way? Who knows? But in the grand scheme, I'm doing what I love to do or I enjoy doing. And so all you can do is hopefully people see what you can do with no money, and hopefully invest in you and see what you can do with it.
Well, I think what happens is we kind of, at this stage in our careers, you know, when you start making movies and you start doing these things, you've gotta just do what you love to do, because as soon as money starts pouring in, they're not going to let you do what you want to do anymore. There's going to be always change this and do that, and you got to be flexible, but at the same time, while you're all out of your own pocket and while you're crowdsourcing and working on your own scripts and things like that, you just got to enjoy it for what it is, because you know, 10 years from now, maybe you're in Hollywood going, man, I needed to sit back and appreciate all those hard times because I was doing what I loved the way and I was allowed to do it my way.
Yeah. There is something about doing it your way that makes it, I don't know, makes it just original. And when you try to double think and triple think who's your audience and who might want this and who's going to be offended, then I'm already offended by it. Then I'm already like, I don't even want to make the damn movie because I'm trying to appease some imaginary group of people that I have no clue whether they're going to dig it or not.
Yeah. The key is offend everybody and let everything else sort itself out. Thank you for coming on the show today. And what was the name of that movie again?
Me and Mrs. Jones.
Thank you for watching. Have a good night.